Alright, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for SSSS Gridman, episode 10.
Okay.
Wow. So big, crazy stuff for Akane last episode.
Yeah, just a bit, a bit. And for the other characters, but mainly for Akane. Like, she's really not doing well, and she is aware that she's not doing well.
Yeah. Painfully aware.
Yeah. So,
This is a dream that either she can't wake up from, or she can't bring herself to wake up from. Either way, it's a horror, basically, for her. Now all these other characters, now we have to have a serious talk about them questioning not only their reality but their existence.
Right.
So Rika is going to be passing along her info she got from Akane to them, given that she has been given a bit of extra stuff here and there, and probably has some unique insight into what Akane wants really out of all this. Now, regarding the team up kind of situation, everyone is there. Everyone's going to be on the same page, which means we're going to be rocketing probably straight from this into a finale of sorts.
Right.
As to what is contained within the finale, who knows?
But it'll probably involve Chief Over Justice Lagan.
And piercing the
reality, and also finding out specifically what happened back then, pre-amnesia and all that stuff. So
Right.
Yeah.
So y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Collapse.
Okay.
Ooh. The dream is collapsing.
そう思いたいけど、中3の修学旅行で京都にも行ったし。その記憶ごと作られたものだった。
Yeah, if memories can be created, you really can't trust anything.
こんなことが続いてるから、私は自分の記憶に自信ないし。
この世界の神なのか。
But Yuta, what is the bit that you have that's different? Wait,
they're back.
Weren't they killed? Or is she losing control?
Well, yeah, that's the real question, because if she's God, then does her absolute truest desires come true? Or
what? Oh, it's a nightmare.
Oh man,
dang.
Well, was it? Or did she immediately just reset everything?
Oh, dang.
And outside all the buildings are like...
Well, just the way he's hovering over her.
Oh, yeah.
Like, who is in control now? Yeah. Okay.
He turned so that he could actually make it out the door. Yes,
that's
I
some
love
attention
it.
to detail. I love it, because they could have just not shown him exiting to make it easier. Oh, here we go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, here we go. Nice. Oh, she's in a new environment of her. Like, this is a different house that she's in, basically.
Well, does she not know about the computer? Is that the thing? Because she knows that Yuta's Gridman.
Whoa, did we just basically just jump, though? No, we didn't, okay. Yeah.
人の記憶に細工してるなら神経性の毒ガスだ。
毒炎怪獣。じゃあ俺の記憶がないのも新庄さんの細工。新庄茜が作った世界に私たちがやってきた。不完全な形でここにたどり着き。
Yeah.
Okay.
本来我々は一つの存在だった可能性が高い。
Yeah.
ここに来るまでにバラバラになった。
Okay.
ということか。
Alright. During some crazy battle? Yeah.
Alexis Caliph.
これで完成？いいのかいこんなので。
勉強してたし。中間考査。怪獣はいつやってくるかわからないけど、テストは日付が決まってるから。
He's got the answers written on his...
Yeah.
ここが新庄茜の世界でも、まあ内海が元気になってよかったけど。
A lot of time is passing.
Yeah.
それは新庄茜にとって住みやすい環境、安らぎを求めたのだろ
Right, she sought an escape, basically.
新庄さんはどこか窮屈そうだった。
弱いとかじゃなくて、
Yeah,
繊細なんだよ。
there you go. Good insight, Rika. If someone is sensitive, they're overly receptive to feedback. And wait, what?
Okay.
Auntie?
Yeah, Auntie and...
Oh, okay.
So, Samurai Caliber.
お前の狙いはグリッドマンだろ。人間と怪獣の間でブレてるやつが勝てると思うな。俺はグリッドマンを倒すために生きている。それ
So
が
what
俺の
happens
全
after
てだ。
that?
Oh my god. Well,
Truly
you got a kaiju.
cursed.
Looks gross.
Yep.
怪獣出てるから逃げて。
It doesn't look cool.
なんかあいつら楽しそうだな。
Look at that thing.
And I love how it looks more and more like a costumed person, basically. You know?
Whoa. This music.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Let's go kill the baby monster.
Yeah, it feels almost like evil music, you know?
Right. Or like some horrible thing is about to happen.
Right.
Either this one's smaller
or it's just weaker. Oh, it's a representation of her.
Yeah.
Yeah. She doesn't want to.
Yep. Her heart isn't in it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, here comes Auntie, right?
Of course.
Right.
Does nothing.
Oh. No, but you can see based on how powerful Gridman is here, you know, that's why it feels a little bit more like they're the bad guys, the, you know. Dang. The stuff for Auntie always looks really good. But like the detail in Redmond right now is something else.
変な感じでしたね。
Yeah.
死体残っちゃったし。
Yeah.
なぜとどめを刺さなかった？
いや、倒したはずだ。
違う、そっちの話じゃなくて、いつも絡んでくる面倒なやつの方。
今はもう心を持った生き物だ。
グリッドマンは生き物の命は奪えない。
怪獣って生き物じゃないんですか？
怪獣は新庄茜の悪意のようなもので、生き物としての活動は。
And this malice was half-hearted.
Yeah, I don't know.
グリッドマンを憎むように生まれてきた。
やっぱり怪獣は負けるために生まれて死ぬのかな。
Yeah.
She's having a real existential crisis here.
I mean, that's putting it lightly.
怪獣はね、人に都合を合わせたりしないよ。いるだけで人の日常を奪ってくれる。それが怪獣。私は人間みたいな怪獣は好きじゃない。
That's me.
あら、そのね。
Probably what she's saying,
Yeah.
thinking,
人間
yeah.
みたいな目してる。どこでも。好きなとこ行きなよ。やっぱり君は
This
失
track.
敗作だよ。
Yeah. Oh.
おお、中の人が出てきてしまったぞ。
Oh. Gotcha.
Oh. She's done. She's
Yeah.
done.
Yep.
What the heck?
私の町がみんな死んじゃった。
どういうことですか？
わかんないけど、倒した怪獣の死体からまた怪獣が出たらしい。
Yeah.
その怪獣が霧の向こうの怪獣を襲った。
アクセスフラッシュ。
But this thing is, yeah, this thing is, not like any other kaiju you faced before. It's her madness, basically.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. Oh wow, and the way it's basically a person in a suit.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
yeah,
yep.
yeah. Oh my god.
Wow. Did it just rip off the head?
Yep.
まずい。
Or it's ripping off the pieces.
Oh, yeah. So this is what Over Justice Lagan's plan was. Hey!
Yeah, here we
Okay.
go. I was waiting for this. I was waiting for this.
But if it can beat Gridman, what can Auntie do? Like,
I mean, real cool, bro.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, this thing's gonna kill Auntie, probably.
Oh boy.
好きなとこ行きなよ。
お前を倒すために生まれ、お前を倒すために生きている。
So I'm not gonna let anything else beat you.
お前を倒すために俺は共に戦う。
Oh!
Whoa!
He turned into
Into basically a Gridman. It
yeah,
looks
he
like.
turned into a what?
コピーした。
二人目のグリッド。
And
偽物だ。
いや、
No.
あいつは本物だ。
Oh.
and I love the purple color scheme.
Yes.
Like, and posing from atop a skyscraper. Like,
Oh
of
my
course.
god, yes.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
本庄茜の心そのものだ。
Oh, wow.
怪獣は人の気持ちを読んだりしないから。
俺はあいつの心が読める。
Did you see the one on the tower just like kicking its legs back and forth?
Whoa!
Oh, whoa! Oh my god! Wow, that was a kill explosion. That was a
Oh.
グリッドナイト。
GridKnight. Love it.
All right.
これでグリッドマンに変身してたんだ。わかるわけないじゃん。
わからないことがあるのかよ。
あるよ。じゃあ内海くんは自分が今までに捨てたものまで全部把握してるの？
Wow.
そういう人がいらなくなったものが集まるお店でしょ？
新庄さんはあの宇宙人に利用。
私もグリッドマンと話してみたかったな。
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Like, there's a couple things I want to go back and check on and like freeze frame because there's some things I noticed that I feel like I should have noticed earlier, but specifically at that part too, there was something. I don't know if she took his wristband or something when she.
I
did
don't
that,
know.
but
I have no idea. Like,
yeah.
because the thing is, the first, like, you know, portion of this episode, I was kind of like, okay, this seems a bit like too normal for how close we're getting to, like, the ending, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but, oh, man. Wow.
Oh
yeah,
my god.
I had a feeling.
Wow. So she did stab him.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That box cutter from the opening.
Uh-huh. Yep. Wow, okay. Well, you done got stabbed.
Good job
stabbed.
going back and double checking on that, because they made it very concealed that was actually what happened. There were only like a couple frames where it actually showed the knife. Like, I thought it was some kind of god magic or something, but
my thought, yeah, you know what my thought was?
What?
Was that she stripped him of the
oh yeah, of the thing.
Thing, and that basically was his tether to you know, this world, because he's one of whatever she is, and that he's not meant to be here. Like, that's my thought basically. But
or maybe because he's attached to Gridman, he's protected from her or something like that, and given some substance as opposed to whatever he is. But okay,
just,
so what do we talk about first?
I think the big thing to talk about is that this is the unraveling of Akane Shinjo.
Yes, absolutely.
She is not only unraveling, she has unraveled. The last episode was her unraveling,
and this is
the collapse.
Right.
This is her basically giving up. So her heart being represented by the new type of kaiju that was born out of the the cocoon,
the apathy basically of that, where basically her passion, the thing that she loved,
died.
Well, it died, but also you could see how the passion for that had already died.
Yes.
Right? Her heart wasn't in it anymore.
Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha.
In the same way that it ended up ripping it apart and then leaving and going crazy and destroying everything.
So in her frustration, in her own depression, in her own darkness, basically, in her losing all semblance of sanity, she puts out one last feeble attempt at a kaiju, which is basically just her heart being put out there on display for all to see. And as it keeps getting crushed over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's a cry for help that turns to spite.
Yep. Yeah. So can we recontextualize actually all kaiju as being Akane's not just cries for help, but her passion, creativity, such so that any time they're crushed, defeated, destroyed, a little piece of her goes with it?
Right, because it's basically her being vulnerable, maybe about this passion that she has, and then suddenly, no, but it's evil, it needs to be crushed, destroyed,
what
whatever,
you have is not worthy of being loved. It is... Well,
and that gets shown so perfectly with Auntie, because one of the things that I always thought was interesting was Auntie's name. Auntie, anti, right? Now, as for a nega Gridman kind of a thing, like he's sworn to attack, to kill Gridman and all that stuff, makes sense, right? But that's almost too simple. Here, we had Akane, who has been constantly spurning Auntie, basically say, go wherever you want, right? She sets him free, basically. And Auntie now, to explore that and to try and find out, he goes to the place where he felt like he had some meaning, right? And he does something different, right? And he discovers this new side of himself, and it's wonderful, right? Or he takes on this new side of himself. He chooses who he's going to be.
Right.
Now, I would posit that when Akane said that, she actually wanted him to stay with her. And that all the times that basically she spurned him, it was because, one, she knew that, you have to love me because I created you and all that stuff, and everyone loves me, right? But at the same time, it's something of wanting to drive. It's the driving him away because she hates the fact that it feels fake, right? But it's also potentially driving away so that way, would there be a possibility that whatever spell essentially that she has on him could be broken, and then maybe he could decide to come back of his own free will, right?
Yeah, I think that there's the potential for that. I also see it as a thing of where he's the only thing she really can reject to their face, basically. Everyone else, she has to maintain the facade.
Right, there's a whole mess of stuff behind it, which is why I feel like it's so good for theorizing about, because since Akane doesn't really understand herself, like, it doesn't have to ever be one thing, right? They don't ever have to say what it like officially is or something like that. Akane's just really not doing
It's a lot of that because of Akane's mental state. Alexis Carib seems to be very happy, though, about Akane's mental state.
Yes, he's not working on changing any of this. Like, I figured with a lot of this stuff, he'd start maybe stepping in or something, but apparently Keikaku Dori, so...
But can we throw out another idea here? The idea that Alexis Carib is just another kaiju representing her darker side.
Okay.
And as Akane starts to lose basically touch with any kind of care for this reality that she created, if you will, with the destruction of all the caretaker kaiju, which is basically her saying, I don't care about this anymore. Destroy it all. Alexis Carib seems like that's kind of something he wants.
Right.
So it might be just convenient that it's like, oh, well, this was my plan all along. If we look at him as an autonomous individual with his own will and what have you. But if let's take a step back, like, he just kind of seems to be there for her.
Right.
Maybe he's more of a, more of a theoretical or no, he interacted with Auntie, but
and he specifically, she wanted him to kill Auntie and he didn't, so it feels like he wants to exacerbate her frustrations, and he has, and the thing that always trips me up about him, which is kind of showcased by me calling him Chief Overjustice Lagan, is that his name is Alexis Carib. That one is not a title, that is an actual name.
Yeah, that's a first name, last name.
Right. And it's a name that is very much different than the other kinds of names. Like it's not a Japanese name, right?
Right.
So so that connotates that basically there's some level of importance to this name,
right?
And yet it's not something that is completely alien. Like Alexis is a regularish name. I don't know about Carib, but so what's the deal there? Like, I feel like there's some explanation that needs to happen at some point regarding who or what he is.
Yeah, and it's probably with regards to the origins of Gridman in this whole space as well.
Yeah.
The idea also of Akane not being really aware of everything in this environment, the idea of her omniscience being like, oh, there's a big hole punctured in that idea.
Right.
She's not a all-powerful god here.
Right.
She is more or less a creator.
Right. She can create kaiju that do stuff.
But that's it. That's all it is, really.
Yeah.
Now, the kaiju then do the things that she, wants them to do, like manipulate memories, restore environments, reset time, do whatever, stuff like that. We end up in this predicament, though, where if she's basically saying, I don't have any more investment in this world, I'm going to go straight to the source of my problem, and I'm going to get rid of it, that's kind of like her saying, I don't care about my existence in this environment anymore. Because if she was gaining something from this before, which they did kind of mention, the idea that she sought this place out for tranquility's purpose.
Yep.
And that makes sense with the idea of Rika's analysis that Akane is sensitive, which is very much the case.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, this whole show has reinforced that like a dozen times of how sensitive she is.
Right.
And that's understandable.
And it's also where Chief Overjustice Lagan could manipulate her and stuff.
Right. But then we end up getting this thing of where she's not seeing any more value in this space. So can she not leave?
Right.
That's my thing, is that if she created this space, I would assume that she exists beyond this space. This is just a space she's temporarily occupying because it suits her needs. But then if she's punishing or throwing out, letting out her frustration upon this environment, she still has investment in this environment.
Right.
So there's a contradiction here that I am curious about.
So what? So my guess, as best as I could guess, especially and a lot. Most of this stems from the fact that she makes the kaiju through Alexis. Right, she tells Alexis to make the kaiju because that's
reaction.
Exactly, because that's the weirdest thing, right? With the whole idea of a god wouldn't go through another entity to create stuff, right? That sort of breaks the whole concept of God, right?
Well, again, throw out but
it's the idea of the being that has the power to do stuff. It makes it seem like Akane doesn't actually have the power, which makes me think that the power actually originated and came from Alexis, right?
Okay.
And that he's using her somehow because, like they said with the Gridman, some imperfect, not fully whole entity that basically latched onto her in the same way that Gridman latched onto Yuta, right? And is using her to basically do all of this stuff, and that the reality isn't actually necessarily a wholly constructed world, but that it's the real world being changed because of the things that Akane does.
Yeah.
Like,
you lost me.
I mean,
yeah. The thing is that I totally see the Alexis Carib thing being a thing where he does stuff with the kaiju, and he basically instances it into the environment at the will or behest of Akane. Like, he doesn't just put them all out there. He takes the specific ones that she's presented to him. So she's a model craft maker, what have you, and she's in this odd space to represent the emotional, mental struggles that she's going through. And Alexis feels a bit too Gurren Lagann for me. He doesn't feel like he fits in the end game of this story because he is too literal. He's too much in the space of all these things. That's why I feel like there has to be this theoretical side to him, this not literal aspect of him that is connected to Akane. And maybe, if anything, he's something more representative of Akane than,
Yeah, right.
himself.
And if it was something where he's a creation of Akane, then that does solve some of the issues.
Yeah, it just
because when I think about this show, right, with with the way it's set up and everything, one core, all that, and the way that Akane really is the main character. Right? It's not Yuta, it's not, you know, Rika or Utsumi. It's none of them, right? It's Akane.
Yeah.
Given that, and the way they're setting up the conflict within Akane, then the final conflict is going to be resolving the conflict within Akane, no doubt with a physical manifestation and representation through Gridman and you know, Chief Over Justice Lagan and kaiju and all that stuff, right? And whatever, and if it ends with some kind of crazy final battle, then that'll be sort of like the battle for Akane's soul kind of a thing, right? For her to have whatever emotional, you know, or mental, you know, change that she needs to have in order to you know, go through life, right?
Now, I think that's one part of it. That's one part of it. The issue I have with it being solely that is, like you said, Alexis Carib seems to be this thing that has its own will, desires, and everything, all that, what have you. The idea that we have a character in Akane whose primary battle, if you will, is one in the soul, like you were saying. It's one in the mind, the heart. It's in the non-physical.
Right.
Having a physical projection kind of conflict of that, like a projected conflict of that, is fantastic. Maybe to showcase how dramatic the actual inner conflict is. But the actual resolution of it should happen on the mental, emotional, soul level. Like something where this whole fight that's like building up or what have you will be ultimately just a showcasing that the conflict exists, but the actual resolution of it will happen within Akane. Like either we are within Akane right now and that's the twist basically, but the fact that we've been given so much visual representation of the fact that we are in a space that is not real, like some kind of space that is not what it seems. It's not the real world.
And yet we don't really have much indication of what the real world would be. We know that there's a kaiju that existed before this world was created. The little one with the earphones and stuff. It said I existed before this city. So that's the most we have to go on.
Yeah, I like that. I like that we can take that character's kind of exposition as a little bit of that's a foundational aspect for what the bounds of this world are. But the fact that we haven't seen that character again, in all that time, I want to look at this way more metaphysically and theoretically than with regards to literal, because one, Yuta might have just died in the, died in this reality, whatever this is. So I don't really take this as a. Maybe here's the thing where I need to take a step back, because I think I'm looking at this way too much as a, none of this really matters anymore, because now
it's not real kind of a thing.
Kind of because it's not real, but also because Akane's battle in this instance here is lost until people like Rika, Utsumi, Yuta, Gridman, all of them, basically, and Auntie also, are able to reach her heart and basically help her. Just basically offer their help, and then she accepts it. But I think that any other kind of conflicts and stuff like that are more just projected representations of the actual conflict, thereby making my perceptions of all this a little bit whack.
Because I feel like with regards to the whole breaking the boundary to the world beyond kind of a thing, either it's going to be something where it's a completely different world, you know, and in which case they would either need to have it be the way I would think they'd need to do it is have it be something at the very end where you just sort of give a montage of like, this is what the world is, and it's something that's easily recognizable, right? And then it's like, okay, it's fine. Or it's basically just a parallel of the world in here, right? Which they could do a ton of things with that, where it's basically Akane's escape from that world because she doesn't like it or whatever. So she creates this parallel where she's gotten, and it's all good.
Okay.
Or they don't actually ever leave this world.
Yeah,
which
that's not happening.
That doesn't seem like it would be happening.
No.
But given that there's only 2 episodes left now, and we don't really know anything about the outside, and the one person that talks about the outside, right? The other kaiju, we've barely seen.
Yeah. Again, anything now that we've seen that is kaiju related isn't necessarily real. So
well, a part of me wonders if even like Alexis Carib is, and the whole thing of him creating, like, basically giving Akane the ability to enact her will is basically just like a schizophrenia or something, where like her mind is split basically, and because she's the god of this world, it ends up all kind of working out, and that's the manifestation of the darkness within her. And then the reason why then the junk shop is important is because it's the things that she cast off, she threw away, she didn't see it as valuable, right? And that's kind of where Gridman came from. But even then, there's that whole part at the beginning where it's Akane looking up at the sky, and there's the fragment of the stuff, which is probably Gridman and Samurai Caliber and all of them, which is crazy to think that they're parts of Gridman, but does explain some of their personalities. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Right now, my brain hurts because there's only really a few things that I feel like all seem to tie together here, and the obvious ones are just that this reality is a representation of the inner conflict within Akane. That's a bit redundant, but Akane's inner conflict. And other than that, all these characters, the main reason why they matter is because Akane specifically wanted them to exist in her inner conflict.
She cares about them in some way, even if it's in a negative way, like in the case of Yuta, at least now. So which maybe okay, all right, now maybe this is just too trippy, but given how whack this episode was, tinfoil hat, Yuta is the protagonist of this show. He's the sort of like kind of bland, just protagonist that's like, we must do the right thing, right, and whatnot. Right. He's that of Akane.
Oh, so she just killed that, basically.
Right. Basically, that hope that had been dying in her this entire time, right? Because the battle's been raging this entire time, right? and basically that's the manifestation of that. And she just truly gave up, right? So she goes and finds the thing, and it was the thing that she always liked, right? She wanted to get the attention of. She wanted it to sort of
to save her,
right? Right?
And it couldn't.
Yeah. So now she goes, finds it, and kills it.
All right, I like that a lot.
I don't know how they would actually like go about like explaining that, and maybe that's just supposed to be some sort of like undertone theme, whatever.
Well, on another side of things, Yuta died already and then came back.
Sure. So, and he might not have actually died here. They might do the whole, knife wound kind of a thing. But
well, they also might do the thing here of where once she kills him or thinks she's killed him, she's like, what have I done? Like realizing, dude, I don't really want this to end. Maybe Rika's basically ends up being the hero here. That would be kind of cool. But y'all, I love that we are at this much of a loss for how this show is going to resolve so close to the end, specifically when we know that it's dealing with a layer of reality that isn't real or what have you. So, and it's an anime original,
so
do your thing.
So we don't have to worry about like a read the manga kind of ending.
Like, no. Of course not. This is Trigger.
No.
This is Trigger.
I know, but in another show, right? If I didn't know this was Trigger, I would think that it's like, oh damn, they're gonna leave it off for like, hope there's a season 2, or go buy the light novels or something.
Right.
So somehow they're gonna tie this all up, but how?
Yeah. Well, I think it's pretty obvious how it has to be tied up. But as to like
the
what
specific
what's, those are the questions. So, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. yeah, if you want to, resolve your confusion with us, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there and watch the next episode's reaction right now. You can watch full-length reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us about these stories, about anime in general, just stories, hang out with the community, get involved with events there. You can also talk with Jacob about his book.
Yes, my sci-fi novel Battle Lines is still available for order on Amazon. The link is in the description below, so go check it out and let people know what you think. Leave a review.
So if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.